Welcome back, Shalligators. Today we're going to tackle a topic that has been out there for a minute, but I think it's still really important to talk about because it's not like their circumstances are changing anytime soon. Millie Bobby Brown getting engaged at 19 years old to Jon Bon Jovi's son, Jake. Have you lost your damn mind, girl? Have you lost your damn mind? Maybe she has, but maybe she hasn't. Is there something to be said for getting married really young or for starting a family really young? Personally, I believe these to be two totally different lanes, and my advice for them is actually really different, and you're gonna be surprised which one I'm more in support. You're gonna be surprised. But I figured, let's talk about not just young love, because of course you should be in love when you're young, you should have that experience, but do you need to get married? Do you need to have a legal binding contract with the government? And you have to see a judge to break up? All of that aside, is it even healthy for you to be partnered up to that degree when you're young? Is it something that's going to give you a really amazing rock solid foundation as you grow into a different person? Or is it going to prevent you from growing into a different person? Is it going to act as some sort of weird time capsule? We're going to get into all of it because I got a lot of thoughts. On a lot of different things. But first, just a quick word from today's sponsor. Shalligators, we know that when it comes to seduction, you have to use every weapon in your arsenal, especially all five senses. You must be visually appealing, nice soft skin to touch. You must be interesting to listen to. And girl, don't forget about how you smell. Scent is the closest sense tied to memory, so you gotta bring the heat when it comes to your perfume. But committing to just one, not exactly my strong suit. Not my strong suit, but Scentbird is here to the rescue. Scentbird is a designer fragrance subscription service that lets you try a new fragrance every month for just $17. And every month you get to pick what you want, so there's no surprises. With each fragrance, you get a 30-day supply, so you can really move into it and try it on, see how well it is in terms of manipulating and seducing men. So here are the scents I got this month. Marfa by Memo Paris, Love Me by Tous, and Brown Girl Jane by Lamu. These are all completely different scents, and look how cute the packaging is. You can pop them in your purse, keep them in the console of your car, which I do in case I run into an ex and I just need to ruin his life. So listen, diversify your scent portfolio and sign up using my code, save 55%. It's gonna bring your first month down to $7. It's a no-brainer, give it a shot. What have you got to lose? It's available in US and Canada. So thank you Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Girls, check out the links below to the perfumes I tried. See you later, Shalligators. Okay, and we're back. Let's talk Jake and Millie. All right, so I've done some deep dives. I never dive too deep because I'm lazy. Millie has a lot going on. We all know her from Stranger Things, but she's in those movies Enola Holmes, which, why did they cast Henry Cavill in that? Am I saying it right? Cavill or Cavill? It doesn't matter. Why did they cast him in that? Why would you cast that man in anything that there isn't a sex scene in? Or a shirtless fight scene, or he's just, oops, this truck full of baby oil it just exploded all over me and I just gotta do a bunch of push-ups. Those are the movies I wanna see him in. Same with the dude in Top Gun, Hangman, Glenn Powell. These are the only kind of movies you need to be in. Where you're playing Sherlock Holmes in some Victorian miss me with that, you prude. Miss me with that. But she's doing those movies. She's got a skincare line. Someone even said, Kaylee, hi Kaylee, a Shalligator who came to Paris, told me that she's writing a historical fiction book. She's doing things, and she's executive producing, I think, the Enola Holmes movies. So girl's got some things in the pipeline, which I love to see. I love a go-getter, and especially someone who's a child star who could just devolve into drugs and, weird, questionable haircuts. Well, I think she's kind of there with that. I love it. I love this for her. But that makes me almost more concerned that she's engaged at such a young age, because if she was just sort of a one-hit wonder and she was going to do nothing with her life, then yeah, it probably would be good for her to get settled down and she has this domestic routine. It's listen, you probably went straight from your parents to a studio boss to a husband, and that's just kind of your vibe. That's okay. That's how women have lived for hundreds of years because they didn't really have a choice. They went from mom and dad to husband to being a mom, and, there wasn't a lot of choices. But now, obviously, we can do better. So I think it's interesting that with all that going on, she wants to settle down, but maybe it isn't. Maybe that's exactly the moment in your life when you're like, you know what? I have all these other unknowns. My life is so busy. I just want to know who I'm coming home to. I don't want to be out there dating and fuckboy and Snapchat. Da, da, da. I just want something stable. That's kind of the place that I'm at right now. And it's funny, I even had a friend say this. They're like, your life is so fluid right now. I know, that sounds so woke. I hate that word. They've ruined the word. But like, I can be in any city in the world. I can work whatever days of the week or the month or the year that I want to. And they're like, it's so funny to hear you say you might be ready to get married again, or at the very least, like have a solid, stable boyfriend. And I'm like, I guess that is true. It's like, if anyone could be flying by the seat of their pants, it's me. I could have hoes in different area codes. But the way I look at it, it's like, yeah, I have such a fluid, cool life, but from the inside, I won't say it's a chaotic life, but it's a hustle. Like there is no I'm just going to sit in my cubicle today and like mentally check out and I'm going to wind down the clock. There is none of that. Like I have to be on and popping at all aspects of my job all the time. Things that you guys don't see that I won't bore you with, like businessy things and brand deals and dealing with my bangs in general, just my bangs alone. There's a lot that's going on. And so for me, all of these other things that a lot of people who work in corporate America or whatever, that's like boring to them is so stimulating to me. I don't want to say a boring relationship, but I want a stable relationship. I don't want to be constantly in this anxiety spiral over a fuckboy. I've done it. And I was doing it the most when I was the most bored at my corporate job. When my self-actualization was not where it needed to be, I wasn't pursuing YouTube. I wasn't working on a new book. I was just kind of treading water. I had the most fuckboys in my life because that was my stimulation. And it felt so much better when I pulled back and I'm like, no, bitch, you don't need these garbage boys. You need to get your shit together work-wise. That is what actually feeds you and fuels you. And when I did that, when I was using my bandwidth towards that, those types of relationships had absolutely no more appeal to me. None. Gone, done, bye. Not to say that everything works out, but it's a whole different rubric that I'm looking at when I date somebody now. Like, I just don't know if I want to go. Let me stop you right there. Jeff. Like, just get out of my house. So in that sense, I get what Millie's doing. However, she's a celebrity. Most 19-year-olds aren't executive producing a series for Netflix. They're not writing books. They don't have a skincare line. They're grinding away in college or in their first job, something like that. So does that count as enough stimulation to make you want to settle down? First of all, hold on, put a pin in that. I want to talk about Jake. He seems very nice, like very normal. I actually have spent time with the Bon Jovi family. So there's John, the singer, and he's been with his wife since the 80s. I mean, he's been with his wife for 30 something years, like something crazy. So they're a pretty solid family unit. Not saying he wasn't ever getting his dick sucked by groupies, who knows? But his father, whatever his name is, Mr. Signore Bon Jovi, came to the Star office because they make pasta sauce. Did you guys know this? There's a Bon Jovi, and they spelled the Italian Bon Jovi, Giovi, I think. Bon Jovi pasta sauce. And they made lunch for all the Star employees a few times. So we would hang out with them. And I remember he's this cute old Italian man. I was like, who knew that John was the least talented Bon Jovi? And he's like, oh, they were just so cute. They were so cute. And the pasta sauce is incredible. Definitely buy it. If you see it, buy Bon Jovi pasta sauce. It's great. But the family seems very connected and they just seem good and kind of wholesome. So I think Jake is a good mate. He's not just some garbage fuckboy. But what does he do? Because Millie's 19. I'm pretty sure Jake is 20. Even if he's a year or two older. What does he do for a living? Listen, y'all know I'm a New Yorker, okay? That is the only question we need to ask someone. What do you do? What does he do? Because the natural answer is, Shallon, he's only 20. He doesn't need to know. Then he doesn't need to be a husband. Can you not make that argument? If you don't have an answer for what do you do for a living? What is your career path? Where are you going in life? What do you want to be when you grow up? Then do you have any reason to be so anchored down in something as immalleable as a marriage? Are you a grown-up? Let's just put it that. Are you a grown-up enough to be a husband? Are you grown up enough to be a dad? And sometimes if you can switch it into those logistics, it's like, no, someone needs to know what they do for a living, what their profession is before they bring a child into this world. Before they're shaping some other life, shape your own, right? Have your own reasonably settled and shaped before you're like, now I can move on to shaping this child's life. Is a wife much different? Should you, as a man or as a woman, as anybody, say, I want to sit here and influence everyone else's life and I want to shape this person without me having shaped myself? Not that you need to be 100% perfect and everything is, I mean, look at me. Look at what I do for a living. I'm like a hot mess on here half the time. I'm crying in the Shallon all the time. I'm going to do a video for you guys later today. I'll be crying. Henry and I, anyway. But listen, I am 94% formed. And the things that go wrong in my life are just kind of life, but I know who I am. I know where I want to go. I know what my boundaries are. I know what kind of food I like. Not that there's not wiggle room to try new things. Of course. But I am a whole person. Is a 20-year-old? No. And you shouldn't be. This is the thing. I think when people are commenting on Millie's engagement, and there's all these like bloggers, like, I got engaged when I was 19 and people in their comments ruined it. Bitch, it wasn't people in their comments. It was wisdom from people who might know a little bit better than you. But no, you think you know. And by the way, the person who wrote that is divorced. So it's like, girl, shut up. At 20, at 19, of course you're not a fully formed person. And again, none of the indictments that people have about Millie's engagement are that like she is stupid. It's like all 19-year-olds are stupid, but they're not stupid because they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be. We talk about this when we talk about young girls like 19, 18, that age, dating way older dudes, like 28, even 25. Like, no. It's not that you're so mature, it's that he's immature. And women his age are like, no. So he's got to go younger and younger until he hits the age where she doesn't realize how immature he is. But meanwhile, that young girl is exactly where she's supposed to be. Sexually, in terms of experience, emotionally, all of this. She's fine. He's not fine. That's the difference. And so I think that's what we mean when we come down on someone who's super young and getting married. It's like, you don't even know who you are. How can you be half of a whole if you don't know which half you are? Think about starting a business, right? Okay, let's start this flower shop. You and your best friend. It's like, okay, who's gonna pick out the flowers? Are you good at flower? Okay, I don't know how good I am at flower. Okay, we'll move on from that. Who's gonna do all the accounting? Do you know how to? No, I don't know how to do that. A spreadsheet. Oh no. Who's gonna do the advertising? That business would fail. And there is nobody who would give you a business loan, and there's no actual successful business person who would look at that and be like, you'll figure it out. They'll be like, no, you need to know who's bringing what to the table. And a marriage is a business. A marriage is a business. I know a lot of people who got married super young. And the only two who are either not only just still married, but happily married, because that's the metric. Any asshole can just stay married out of pure fear and be in a miserable marriage. That's not a win for me. Length is never a win. People who are happily married, they run their marriage like a business. They actually run a business together. Like my friends who do this, they buy and they flip and they renovate houses. Like they have a division of labor that helps that relationship move along. And that works for them. Maybe you don't want a transactional-ish sort of marriage. Then you better know exactly who you are and exactly who he is. You better both be completely fully formed people if you're not going to have this thing that you orient all of your personality around, right? A lot of people, if they don't have a business, what do they have? Kids. Exactly. I don't know if you're old enough to know people who are basically just married for the kids and that's all they talk about. The kids are the only thing they talk about. It's the only thing they have in common. They're co-parents, but they're still married. It is the saddest thing to see to me. I think it's really sad. Now, of course, there has to be an element of that to successfully raising a child, of course, but that's the entirety of it. I'm like, damn, Who are you two without these kids? When these kids go off to college, is it like day two when, Timmy's in the dorms and you're getting divorced? Kind of seems like that's how it's going to be. So there's a lot to think about in terms of a young marriage, but maybe, well, hold on. We got to go back to what I put a pin in. I know people who got married young. And you know how we were saying, you have a lot of things going on in college. Yeah, okay, Shallon, maybe settling down is exactly what you should do. No, it isn't. You know why? It's cowardice. Yo, I'm going to shoot you all the way straight. Okay, you're in love. I get that. And he's a great guy. Yeah, he'd be a great father. Yeah, he's got a great career path. You're being a chicken shit. And I don't know if other people around you can see it, but I can see it. And I watched it with almost all of my sorority sisters. The vast majority of them did this. We graduated. We were spit out into the world. We came from affluent parents who went to a great college with these great degrees, and we were fucking terrified. We were terrified. How does this whole thing work? How does life work? The girls I saw who had either no dream for their future, hadn't even really considered it, or they did have a dream, but they were so afraid of it that they just were like, I can't, that's so insane, I can't possibly go after it. Those are the ones who got married. Like 22, 23. You wanna know how happy those people are? I can tell you, because they were kind of bitchy to me when we were sorority girls. They are my absolute biggest fan now. They're my biggest fan. Your life looks so fun. It is fun because I didn't get married at 22. I got my ass to New York City and I was grinding and hustling and working and taking Adderall and crying and having meltdowns on the subway. I was doing it. I was out there clawing my way to where I wanted to be. And you weren't. You took away at the time that seemed easy. Because when you're 22 and your mom's friends are like, so what are you doing with your life? A great answer is, I'm getting married. Because people don't say, okay, move that out of the way. No, what are you doing with your life? They don't say that. That's not how society conditions women and humans to respond to a bride. It's like, she's doing bad. What are your colors? Very honeymoony. That answers that question and no one asks any follow-up. Me, I couldn't say I'm a bride. I was like, I'm a waitress. I live at home. I'm a waitress. And then I'm going to be a waitress in New York City. I live in a studio. No, well, in a few years, I will ascend to live in a studio. That's what I'm doing. My room doesn't have a door. It has a curtain. Oh, that doesn't get quite the applause that I'm a bride will get you. So great. You experienced all that fun, all that payoff right up front, sweetheart. No one's asking you any follow-up questions. Now though, how's that feel? 2 kids and a Tesla later? Ugh. Husband's paunchy. You got a crush on a coworker? No fucking thank you. My life is good. It's wilder. It's less settled, but I am self-actualized. There is not a day in my life that I wake up and I think I'm on the wrong path. I don't think that. I say I'm on the right path. It's a hard path. Fuck, this path is hard. But I never think that I'm on the wrong one. And so I keep walking it. So this is the issue with young marriage, is it answers a question in the moment, but those bigger questions, who am I? Where am I going with this life? What do I want out of this life? Those take a back seat. And if you don't answer those questions early as you possibly can in your life, it's not that you can never answer them. It just gets a lot harder. It's old dog, new tricks, you know? And I would tell this, well, I probably wouldn't tell this to people because I didn't know yet. But looking back, it's a big I told you so moment. Just kind of Monday morning quarterback here. When I had friends, what time is it? Okay. I have a private jet standing by. It's no big deal. Check my Insta. This is how you court a woman. That's all I'm going to say about that. So my friends, a lot of them wanted to be writers when we were all living in New York City. And they took a job technically for a magazine, but in the ad sales department, thinking, oh, I can switch over to editorial, the side that actually writes and does photo shoots and whatever. Ad sales sells ads, like in the pages of the magazine. I took the writing job. I was making like a tenth of what they were making. I was broke. I was scrappy, but I was on the path and they thought, oh, I can just switch over. No, you actually can't. And by the time they realized that like, fuck, I really, really want to write. I'm not on the right path. They were like 27. And of course you could switch careers then, but they didn't want to. It was scary. They were already in their lane. They were a creature of habit at that point. And what was scary at 23 was massively more scary at 27. Again, not impossible. I switched careers in my 30s after getting laid off from Star. I became a YouTuber. Like, I've had many different careers. I might have another one. The dog does not need to get in here. My point is, if you are thinking of getting married early, I'm going to shoot you straight. I'm going to shoot you in the head if I have to get you out of this. Just answer these questions for yourself. It's honestly really fun to answer the question. If you make this your focus, who am I? Who am I? Independent of my family, my religion, my small town cowboy, my dog and his expectations, my sorority, my ex-boyfriend, who am I? That is the coolest thing because it is so selfish and it is really fun. You get to answer the question all the time. What do I feel like doing? No, I don't feel like going to tapas. I don't like it. I definitely don't want to see that movie about Jesus. Thank you. It becomes the you show in a good way, You're not going to slip slide into narcissism. You're fine. But when we can like make our life about ourselves, that's the point of life. That's the point of life. Listen though, I was never one of those people who was like, I was born to love you. I was born to be your mom. No, I was born for me. And maybe you're just not that way. You're like, that's great, Shallon, that you're a career girl. Like, that's great. But I'm just kind of not. Like, I'm more of a domesticated creature. I would love to be a wife. And I maybe don't have a dream. And, or my dream is to make a house and have kids and be there for my husband. And I want him to be a top lawyer, but I don't want to go to the office. I just don't like it. Okay. Then maybe young marriage is not such a bad idea. Maybe it's not. But there is a lot between I am giving everything that I am to this man in this relationship and I will roam the streets like the Incredible Hulk alone, Shallon-esque, pursuing this insanely hard career. There are more than just those two choices. There's stuff in between. And it is, like I said, that getting to know yourself. What kind of music do I like? Do I want to travel? Does he want to travel? If not, then you know what? Maybe we're going to put the marriage off for a year and I'm going to go travel a little bit. I'm going to move to Spain for 6 weeks. You don't have to have this like grand corporate dream to form yourself as a person. That's how I did it, but that's not how you have to do it. I'm going to tell you though, it's going to take more work. It's going to take more work. Fun work of focusing on yourself and say, no, that actually doesn't work for me. I'm carving out my independence as a person. And you need to be very, very aware of who doesn't want you to do this. What do we say about boundaries? The people who hate your boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none at all. If your fiance, if your boyfriend is like, you're just going to move and leave me, Kyle, if you're really meant to be together, if you are soulmates, you're going to die in each other's arms 80 years from now because that's probably how long you're going to live. What the fuck does 3 weeks matter, dude? 6 weeks, 6 months. What does it matter? If this is fated, and hey, if you're a religious person, this is God's match, okay. Do you think God was like, that match is only, it's not good 3 weeks from now. It's not good 3 weeks from now. You were spitting in the face of God's like ordaining, right? You think you can annihilate fate by going on a birthright trip to Israel for a few weeks? By going off and getting your master's degree? By doing a long distance thing for a little while? By eating a different kind of food for dinner? Having your own apartment for a year? And just having your own space? Doesn't sound like your relationship's actually that rock solid. Doesn't sound like it's a soulmate. It sounds like it's a hostage situation where it's a parent-child dynamic where he's daddy and you're the baby. And what he says goes. And yo, girl, vice versa. If he wants to like live on his own or like go pursue professional golf for a little bit and you're like, no, you have to marry me. You sound afraid. And love isn't afraid. True love, true connection, true path, fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it, it's not fear-based. It's, hey, I'll see, yeah, I know that you love me. I love you. We say this about confidence. Confidence is not, they're going to love me. Confidence is, I'll be fine if they don't. And if we can take that attitude into a relationship, boom, we got it. Because if you're not confident about your relationship, do you think marriage is going to make it easier? It doesn't. I've done it. It doesn't. Everything that was wrong is still wrong, only there is this added layer of an insane amount of pressure. Because it's not just like, that's my girlfriend. It's like, that's my wife. And I don't want my wife talking about her work husband that way. That's not what a wife does. I mean, just think about it on a smaller scale. Like when it's somebody, you're like a guy, yeah, you're casually dating, but suddenly it's like, that's my boyfriend. Bitch, that's my boyfriend. Or it's like, excuse me, you're my boyfriend. You need to care about my day. You need to care about these things. There's a different set of expectation and pressure. And if you tell yourself nothing's going to change, ask literally one married person. Just anyone. Happily married, unhappily married, divorced, still married. It doesn't matter. We all say the same thing. It changes. Everything changes and nothing changes. The things that were wrong don't magically evaporate. You know? I don't know. Marriage is fine. It's fine. But you're so young. What is marriage for? What is marriage for? What's it for? What's it for? Well, we don't want to live in sin. Okay. Okay. All right. If you're religious like that, okay. But is that you? Is that your genuine feeling, or is that the rhetoric passed down from your family? Please don't sit here and say, I'm so independent, I'm getting married, if the only reason you're getting married is to please your parents. That's the opposite of independence. That's the absolute inverse of independence. Independence is, I'm going to do what works for me. And you know what? Not everyone's going to like it. But guess what? I'm an adult. They don't get a vote. I'm paying my own bills. I'm making my own way through this world. I get to decide. Nobody else. So do not sit here and boast about your independence if the only reason you're doing this huge thing is for your family. You gotta see the irony there. I mean, you can do that, but again, it's like you're going out of the frying pan and into the fire. You want to get away from your family, get some independence, and you're going into a marriage? You're getting married in order to be independent. Like, I just want a really free and easy schedule. That's why I've started working for the corporation down the street. It's 7 days a week. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, these things don't match up. These things don't match up. So just take some time, man. Like I said, if this is a forever thing, what's the rush? What's the rush? What's the rush? And I can tell you, I don't even recognize who I was when I was 21 or 19. Now, of course, my friends who've known me, they're like, you're exactly the same. And I am, but I'm refined. I'm like a refined piece of pottery. I have no good example for this. But I am so different. Like, my core personality is there, but I cannot imagine who I would be if I had to shape, if it wasn't the world and my chosen experiences shaping me, if it was another person, one person, I don't know who I would be. I'm sure it would depend on who that person was, right? Maybe I would be way better. But I wasn't born to be shaped by one person. Not even like my mom. I was born to shape myself. I've always known that. And that's hard. It's very hard. But at the end of the day, like, it's great because you know what? People who let themselves get shaped by one person, whether it's a sibling or a parent or a spouse or a boyfriend, they are so fucking bitter. They are unbearable to be around. And I'd be bitter too. If my whole existence was offloaded into somebody else and they get to decide, you know, like maybe you don't want to live in Austin. Maybe you don't want to, you know, have kids, right? Like, did you come this far to only come this far? That's just how it feels to me. Did you come this far to only come this far? This is as much sexual exploration as you needed. This is as much travel as you needed and working at different places. This is it. This is all you needed. And I remember a girl in my sorority saying that, like, she had like serious boyfriends throughout college. And then she met this guy, I think his name was like Jedediah. And I know we were still in college because I never talked to her after. And she's like, I'm so ready to marry him. I'm just done. Like, I'm just done looking. And don't you watch The Bachelor? And they say, all the girls like, I'm just done. I'm just so ready to find my person. It's like, Hailey, you're 24. Like, what do you mean? You've just begun. You've just begun to see what's out there. I dated 2 whole people and I am done. And look, maybe some people are. Maybe some people are. You can be done dating and looking in the fuckboy cycle. Stop being done refining yourself, because I think that's actually the subtext. I am done working on myself. I'm done trying to figure out a career. I'm done, you know, explore. I'm just ready to have someone not need more, right? I'm ready to just cap the growth. And this is not to say you don't grow as a spouse in a relationship. You grow different though. You grow different. And maybe that's what you want. You want to grow together and you like that and it's shaping you. But are you 100% sure that that is the kind of shaping that you want and the kind of growth that you want? You're 100% sure. Okay, maybe you are. But if you're not, just pump the brakes. And if you're getting married to have sex, grow the fuck up. Just have sex. Jesus Christ. I'm invoking him. Like, we're talking about him. Are you into that? I just feel like he doesn't care. I just feel like he doesn't care anymore. This is like when they wrote the Constitution and they're like, everyone gets guns. It's like, dude, if they wrote it today, they'd be like, we're all right. I feel like if Jesus came back down, he's like, you guys just like, come on, man. Be a little bit more reasonable. I don't know. I don't talk to Jesus that often. I really can't vouch for him, but that's what I would do. I want to know your thoughts. Did you get married young? Please tell us the pros and cons, because I'm not saying it never works out. Sometimes it does. I just think it really clips your wings in terms of personal growth, what you're going to experience in the world, and how you're going to interpret those experiences. You are going to run everything that you experience and feel and do through the filter of your husband. Well, what does he think about it? Well, what should we do? Blah, blah, blah. I'm a little too only childy for that. I need to be the judge, jury, and executioner of my own life. And it comes with the responsibility of, well, fuck, there's nobody else to blame. Well, fuck, there's no one else to pick up the slack here. I know that, but there's also no one else to tell me what to do. And I understand that I skew far in that direction. I get it. I'm like an extreme case. But I'm just trying to balance it out, because listen, there's plenty more rhetoric towards women about settling down sooner rather than later than there is voices like me saying, yo, pump the brakes, be yourself, achieve all the things you want, then decide if you want to get married. Then decide if you're fully formed enough. You're like, yeah, actually now at this point, I would love to grow a business with someone. I would love to flip houses with a boyfriend or a husband. That sounds great, because I have done all of this work on myself. I have all of these experiences. I've been to Fashion Week. I did blow with Jared Leto in a bathroom, whatever. I've done all of these things. I'm ready to be half of a whole because I know exactly what half I am. Tell me your thoughts, and don't forget to check out Scentbird. Use my code Shallon to save 55% on your first month. The link is in the bio, plus the links to all the perfumes that I tried this month. They're absolutely fabulous. I'm just out here seducing men, but not marrying them, honey. Not yet. I'll see you guys later. I've got a jet to catch. Love you. Mwah!